telling yourself lies and assuming that they're truths. And here's what I mean by assuming, and like trying to honestly convince yourself they're truths. Every single day we have to go to bed at night. Think about the moment when you go to sleep, right? There's a lot of stuff that just sits on your brain. A lot of people sit up at night and they stare at the ceiling, try to figure out how come they can't fall asleep, what's going wrong, why are these things going on. What we do is because we want a good night's sleep, we will create amazing excuses as to why what we're doing, which typically is falling short of our potential, is okay. And I want to be a voice for you right now and tell you to stop doing this. What this is you making excuses to fall asleep at night, but not being truthful about the fact that what you're doing is not good enough. Now, I'm telling you because I honestly am kind of talking to myself years ago, when I used to be able to look at my life and say the reason I've fallen into my marriage is not going well. The reason my business is almost failing. I had a gym business that almost went bankrupt multiple times. The reason I'm not a great dad, I used to tell myself because of other people. Well, my wife, she had this affair and she cheated on me. The economy is bad for my business. I'm too busy to be a dad, and it's the back and forth with my kids. I made all of the excuses to go to sleep at night. It took me forever to go to sleep. I never got great sleep. And I realized at one point in time, because we, as human beings, myself at that moment in time, I was getting really good at making up excuses for things that were truths in my life, but I was trying to make them lies. I wanted to push them to the side. I want to make these things fall away from me. And I realized that was never going to help me be the person I wanted to be, never be the man I wanted to be. I had to actually, for the first time, start becoming truthful about what was going on. I had to honestly step up and say that I was not a great husband, which is what led to my marriage not being great and my wife making a choice, bad choice, but we got to that choice together. I had to be honest with the fact that my business was failing because I didn't know business yet. I had no clue how to manage people, no clue how to work with relationships. I didn't know how to manage money. People stole from me. I let some things happen that it was hard to accept were my fault. My parenting, like I wasn't a present dad. I didn't play catch with the boys. I didn't coach their teams. I just worked trying to make things work, right? And the truth is, in the moment, when you let all that go, when you tell yourself the truth and you accept the truth, you have to take on a great deal of pain. Like I'm telling you right now, that pain you're gonna have to endure internally, knowing that you are accepting that you are the fault behind a lot of this stuff. Because let's be honest, your life is your fault. Now when I say fault's different, things that have happened to you may not be your fault. But when these things happen, your responsibility is to work on them. Therefore, if you don't, it is your fault. And if you can step back and say, look, these problems happen, I had a fault in this. I had a part of this that was my doing. What happens is something unique. One, it sucks to deal with, but you get your power back. See, before that moment, you were kicking everything out to other places and nothing was your fault. Nothing was going on that you had control over. Therefore, you felt helpless. And helpless people are weak people that don't get anything done. But when you accept that, yes, this thing that happened was partly my fault. Yes, you get the pain of realizing it was partly your fault, but two, you get your power back, which means you realize you had a part to play. You had some control. You could have changed something. And what you can do is from that point, make adjustments, which is what I did. Like I changed the way I thought, way I operate. I thought that I was this guy that was, that was great and perfect, but I really wasn't the perfect human. And so what I did is I was able to manage myself differently and fix my marriage. 3 years later, we got back together. We are happily married. Different conversation, but it's because I am different internally. What I accept is different. At the same time, like as an individual in business, I've been able to amass a great deal of business income and success because I understood what was wrong and I took fault for things and I worked on them. I gave myself permission because when you take ownership, you take power back, you give yourself permission to fix it. As a parent, I'm present now. I pick my kids up, I drop them off for school, I'm coach, I'm dad, and I'm present. And I don't make excuses as to why I'm working too much. I don't have much time, I'm tired. There's no more excuses. I don't accept those anymore. There's the beauty of it. Every night when I go to sleep, my wife makes fun of me, but I can pass out in about 60 seconds. Like no lie, lay down, 60 seconds, I am passed out. And it's because there's no more weight on my heart. The weight of the day of accepting things that may sit with me. I take fault for things that happen in my business, in my health, in my life, in my marriage. I take fault in the moment of it, and I deal with it in the moment there. And then the weight is removed. So when I go to bed, it's not there. And the way this starts, the way this happens is simply by you stepping in for a second, looking at your life. What's not going well? Like honestly, what is not going the way you desire it to go right now? Where is your part being played? Where will you take acceptance? Where will you take on fault and take back your power and give yourself permission to fix it all? The moment you do this, the moment that you actually step into a different game, play a different role, and look at your life differently, is the day you create a different life. Make that day today.